Hi, I'm Samantha Fede. I'm here from the American Go e-Journal, and I'm here at the 2018 Go Congress in Williamsburg, Virginia. We're covering the 2018 Pandanet North American Pair Go Championship Finals. Very exciting. So with me tonight is Edward Zhang, six-dan amateur, and actually he won this championship back in 2008, so he knows what he's talking about. We'll explain more about Pair Go in a minute, but first we're going to introduce the players.
Hi everyone, welcome to the finals. So the one pair is Melissa Cao. She's a 4-dan player, and the Jeremy Chiu, 7-dan player. They're both from California. They're going to take the white stones. And the other pair is Sophia Wang, the 3-dan player, not the 3Q, and the Alan Huang, 7-dan player. They're from New Jersey.
So we're going to have a little bit of a lag here before we jump right into the game because they're still just getting set up. So they haven't actually started yet. So do you want to get started by explaining a little bit about how Pair Go works for the people who weren't here for the first half?
Yeah, absolutely. So Pair Go, unlike regular 1-1 Go game, the players will take turns. Typically, the female player will play first, and then the opponent's female player will follow, and then the other pair with a white stone will play. So in the Go game, black stone play first, and then during the game they're not supposed to communicate. So it's very interesting rule and very interesting process to trying to figure out what's the best next move. Yeah.
It's a really exciting way to do Go, and you can learn more about Pair Go and regular Go from the links on the page here and also at usgo.org. And you know, we play Pair Go every year at this Go Congress, and so even though the game that you're going to be seeing here tonight is for the championship game to play Pair Go in Japan in the World Championships, representing us here, the regular players get to play for fun and for other prizes here. So the game's getting started, so let's go ahead and get that started here.
Yes. Okay. Start with the star, and then both start with corner, and black has a 3-4. And then white take the corner as well, the star position. And then black try to secure the corner. So here, these two moves will typically get the corner territory. We call this it's one effective way to secure the territory. In this game, will be some fighting like a chess. However, the results and the main goal is to get the most territory. That's a little different from chess. Yeah.
So as a reminder, the team playing black is Sophia Wang and Alan Huang. So that's the 3-dan and 7-dan team. And wow, we actually have over 10,000 people here on the stream with us right now. If you're just joining us, we're covering the North American Pair Go Championships, and we're in the finals right now.
Yes, and this they just win their games in the semifinals, and I'm pretty excited right now because it's not only the final but also like a Western Conference, Eastern Conference showdown.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a typical opening, similar to chess. These corner moves are in very common patterns, and in the Go game we call this Joseki, similar to openings in the chess. Yeah. So in this upper corner. We call this a typical Joseki, and where both black and white are pretty satisfied, and they got a few points here and a few points here. And meanwhile, black player will get the initiative to play the next position. And we call this initiative a sente in a Go game. Yeah. So it looks like they are using some simple opening moves. So
with pair go, it seems like one good strategy sometimes is to keep things simple, so that maybe your partner rather can figure out what it is that you're trying to think. That's one of the hardest things about pair go, is trying to figure out what your partner is thinking without knowing and being able to communicate.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I also want to use an analogy with like tennis. If you play like an individual game, I know some strong players try to make it very complicated, but in the pair go game, because of the it's very hard to understand all the other three players' strategy. So many pairs will choose to be safer. So you probably know many tennis players. The game are typically decided by who makes the fewest mistakes, right?
Absolutely.
In tennis, yeah.
So let's go ahead and get back to the game.
So that's why they use some simple Josekis. Well, you actually in recent professional games, you will see much more complicated, and then that's also because recently the AI has changed the game quite a lot. Yeah.
And so Edward mentioned this before, but you heard him use the word Joseki, which is basically standard opening sequences. So what he's been playing out on the board for us here are the Josekis that the players are going through, these standard opening sequences.
Yeah. And then here, I think this is an opening, very interesting sequence here. You see white is trying to take the corner and then also take some territory here, but black didn't really try to get into any fight, so just play the other corner, where people won't typically play this simple. They could, another Joseki will be just block here, and then white come up a little bit, and black jump, and white also jump like that, and then black probably here or here.
So why do you think they chose to play that way?
This way or
the way that they actually
did? The other
did.
way, my guess is they have, with this move, because it's a little rare, I think white has prepared something, and black doesn't want to get into, the opponent's trap. I know some of these players, they know each other for years, and they probably plan for this championship for months, right? I heard last night, earlier today, they're trying to use all the time to finalize their strategy. So this move is a little rare, and I think black is very interesting to see this move, because it's in the local, it could lose some points or territory, but it simplifies the opening.
Okay.
And then also they save a lot of time. In this game, it's 45 minutes only. There's no overtime. So I think they want to leave the most complicated fight and the best moves to the end. Yeah, I really look forward to it. Yeah.
Okay.
So you see, this is similar to this corner. The black approach a corner, and white plays a knight's move again.
So you just use the term knight's move. What does that mean for people who don't know?
That's typically like a two space jump, but to the side. So this is
kind of like the same
nice
move in chess, where there's a knight and it can move 2 spaces forward and 1 space to the side.
That's right, exactly, yeah. Knights can move like that, yeah. And then this time, instead of playing here, 2-4 position, and approach the corner closer, I think black tried to take a little more points in territory here, because as this corner, black is losing some territory. So this is also a very common Joseki. You see. In here, we call this move a tarry because it's similar to the check in chess. Because if black doesn't answer here, say black plays somewhere else, white will play here. And then see, when this happens, all the 4 direct points to this black stone are taken by white, and we call this black stone run out of liberty. And then this stone will be captured.
Yeah, so basically Atari is when you only have one move before your stone's gonna get captured. So you can let your stones get captured, but you may not want to.
That's right. So black has to answer here. We call this connect. In other words, the white Atari here is considered a forcing move. And then next one, white will connect, and black will also connect through underneath. So this variation actually is very rare a few years ago, but AI likes to play this a lot. Like typically, I guess so many companies are doing the AI with Go game, and maybe we'll mention that those some company names later on. But because AI play this and the human players realize, oh, this is a great variation. So strong professionals also start to play this, right? But when I learned Go like 20 years ago, this is very rare. Yeah.
There's been a lot of really exciting AI advances in the Go world that Edward was just alluding to.
Okay, and then play the corner. And then white extend down. Right? Oh, no, okay.
So is that what you thought they should have done?
Yeah, typically, yeah. My first instant, it will be here because this is a big, plus this will also give the white group the space to settle in case black try to attack from this side, right? Because you need to have enough space to settle. We call this I shapes, right? I shape. But without this move, black can, either Atari here or here later on, and then the white will lose its base, and then so a lot of players could play this sooner. However, there's also a very, very big point right now, which is the upper side.
So they want to make it more interesting.
Yes. Yes, this is very big because we talk about the game is trying to get the most territory, right? And then if you think about this, if white plays here, for example, and black plays here, you see this corner and this corner are all of a sudden connected. So we consider this a more efficient way to get territory.
Yep. And if you're interested in learning more about the rules of Go, like trying to find territory and Atari, as well as things like eyes, you can learn all about it at usgo.org and also at the links that are on this page.
All right, and this one, sometimes we call this an invasion to the black territory because initially black has more stones here, and then but this center point is the best because either way, black either attack from this side or from this side, white will be able to have a two-space extension like this, and then this shape is considered very solid and safe. So when white plays here, it always give itself a chance for a two-space extension.
And if we look back at
Right.
the game, that's exactly.
White's next move, right? Yeah, thank you for follow up with the game. The game, just for your information, every player has to play within 30 seconds. So it's relatively a fast pace, right? Game, right? 30 seconds.
You don't have to play within 30 seconds.
That's overtime, right? But right.
It is an absolute time game. If we go back to our Go rule handbook, and so they are at an absolute time of 45 minutes, so they can't be too slow.
Right. Thanks for the correction. Yeah. Although they have 45 minutes, this typically one Go game will have approximately 250 to 300 moves. So per move, the time is still pretty short. But so in the end game, typically we call end game is similar to like fourth quarter in football, basketball, right? You see the moves are much faster. But right now they're still
we're still in opening, right?
Right. So now you see black is approaching from this side, and then white. This group right now is feeling pressure, but not a lot of pressure. But if black takes this next, then white is going to have more pressure. And when this happens, the white group will not have a base. We will call this a floating group. And floating group is not good for Go game.
So white just kind of continues to go elsewhere, though.
Interesting, yeah. Okay. So I try to take that corner. If you think about this game, usually players will try to take the corner and side first because it's easier to secure your territory. And then without this move, if you have just a overview from the top, this is actually the very last spot, right, to have the territory. And then after this move, black does not have like a majority, like a major spot to take additional territory. So in this case,
so you're saying that you keep talking about territory. So the point of the game is to surround the most territory as possible. So each of these intersections on the board counts as a point of territory. So when Edward's talking about these groups on each of the sides, he's talking about this being kind of white's territory and this being kind of black's territory to start with. And so going back to that then, why is a floating group bad in terms of the goal of Go, which is to surround territory?
Right. When a floating group happens, it will have to come out since like this move or maybe something like coming out this way. Then these moves will not generate as many points as the moves on the side. And also in this game, black and white play alternatively. So when you play a move, black next move can also increase its territory, and that exchange could be bad for white.
Okay.
That's why floating groups is not considered efficient.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, you're saying that it can be attacked pretty easily.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it almost feel like your king got checked, but your pawns are not there to protect.
Okay.
Yeah. But till now.
So it looks like they did. Yeah. Black did the move you were worried about here.
Right. They try to make this white group a floating group, as we mentioned. But okay, so white is trying to come out. But at this moment, I think, in my perspective, white is taking a smaller lead because, as I mentioned, white played the last big spot on the board, on the whole board, right? So in terms of the opening strategy, I think white has a better chance, the upper hand. Yeah.
So you think that, so even though this was a floating group and you were worried about it, it was still more important to go here?
That's right, yeah. What do you think? Yeah. It's still very early, right? It's like only maybe first quarter, right? That doesn't really matter much. Usually in this game, similar with chess, the second half is more important, right? Okay, so
So what you've been mentioning things about other games a lot as well, but can you tell me a little bit and tell us a little bit about the history of the game of Go?
history of the Go, wow, it's probably one of the oldest games in the world, and there's some archives showing the game has been over for probably 5,000 years.
Where did it start?
Where?
Yeah.
Originally start from China by a lot of the history, and then so a lot of people in China play that. The emperor plays, the normal people also play a lot, and then later on, the game went to Japan, and that's where it got most populated. And then in recent about 30 years, Korean is very, very strong in the game. And then China and Japan are trying to catch up. And meanwhile, I think about half century ago, it also, become very popular in Europe and American. And now we know every year, right? There's a lot of Go players come to the Congress, and that's one of the best time of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is my
right now, yeah.
12th Go Congress.
Oh, 12.
And the European Go Congresses go on next week. And just as a reminder to everyone, we're actually here at the U.S. Go Congress in Williamsburg, Virginia, live. And we're here till Saturday playing Go, the national tournament, the U.S. Open, as well as the U.S. Open Masters. If you happen to be in the area, you can always come on by and just play some pickup games. We really love teaching new people as well as playing games with new friends. Or just keep watching it on Twitch, where we'll be continuing with coverage throughout the week.
Yes, and by the way, speaking of the history, it's considered one of the four major arts of China: chess and music and poem and the calligraphy. Those are considered four major arts.
Wow.
Yeah, so I guess a few thousand years ago, if you know how to play Go, you're considered quite classy in China.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And remember, if you guys have any questions for us at any point, you can go ahead and write them in the comments, and we'll try to answer them as best as we can. So, should we get back to the game?
Yeah, absolutely. So here, white come out and black will capture these two stones. Right now, we call this position a small liberty race. Liberty race meaning, the black cannot come out and white cannot come out either. The only way these stones can survive is to capture the opponent's stones.
So can you remind us what a liberty is?
Liberty, yes. Liberty, see, if you look at these two stones, some of the points right next to the two stones are blocked by white stones, but there are still three spots here wide open. So these three are called the liberties. And meanwhile, you can count white stones only have two liberties left. So black will win this liberty, as we'll show shortly. And then when black captures these two stones, it will gain a lot more territory in the corner. And then white has to come out, making the so-called living shape. Right. And And keep in mind, this game is quite strategic, and these good things happens for black, mostly because black is approaching from here a few moves ago. So in this game, if you like mind sports, I would say this is one of the best game you definitely want to try, because it's you read a lot of moves ahead, and it's great exercise as well, quite entertaining.
And people might know it by other names too, right? So in Korea, it's called Baduk, and in China, Weiqi.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, so
Weiqi, yeah.
yeah.
Great. All right. So white, now they're trying to reduce the liberties. So white play here, and black have only 2 left. But it's black's turn, so black will play here. And this is where we are. And I think white is still doing all right, although it's quite early. But you can tell, there's a lot of territory here and here. But this part is a lot bigger than this part.
So, but should they be worried at all because that white group is now a floating group, like you said before?
I would say yes and no. It's floating, but the board is quite open, right?
Okay.
So it's not a really big deal
So
at this moment.
you keep talking about who's ahead and that sort of thing. How do you look at this board and count the game? How do you start to figure out how many points or who's ahead?
Yeah, that's a good question. Typically, we'll count the territories by counting what's underneath this area. For example, in this shape here, we will assume white has something like this. Okay, we will imagine it will secure all these territories. So we usually count this as 4 points. 4 points. And so for black, if you have to count, you do something similar like this. And then, so this will be about 5 points for black's corner. Right?
And the players are counting like this throughout the entire game.
Yes, yeah, they do a lot of counting and calculation at every moment, try to figure out their position, and then so they should be more proactive or be more defensive later on. They always think about this, right? And then so you imagine here you have about 7 points, and this corner because of this area, so somewhere around 20 points. So 20, 27 plus these about 30, and maybe a little bit here. Usually we count this as 2 because the group will need 2 points to survive any attack. I guess we'll come up about that later on. But so white has about 35, right? It's about, I would say about 33, 34. And the black has here's about 12, and then a little bit here, I'll say about 15 approximately, plus this 20, and then here I think another, you can see it's about another 20 point, yeah.
So in this game, the players are pretty similar strengths. So white, as a reminder, is Melissa Cao, 4-dan, and Jeremy Chiu, 7-dan, and black is Sophia Wang, 3-dan, and Alan Huang, 7-dan. So they're basically about the same on average. But in the last round, which was covered by Julie Burrell and Maeda Sensei, there was a lot bigger difference. So how does that work? Do they get to, do they have to play at the same ranks all the time?
Yeah. You're talking about if the players have different
ranks.
rating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, strengths, right. So there's 2 ways. One is the if it's an open tournament, then all the players will play even, just like this one, because this is the championship game and the final. There's a lot at stake, right? The winner will not only get a nice recognition, but also a chance to compete in the World Pair Go in Japan later this year. So this is an open tournament, so everybody play at even. But most of the Pair Go will play with handicaps, so similar to golf. Right? The stronger player will give the other players a few handicap points. Typically, they will allow the weaker pair to have a couple of stones at the beginning. So that's a lot of advantage. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, to start with. Yeah.
And it seems like white would have the advantage, or black would have the advantage because they get to go first on every move. But there's also the white gets a couple extra points, right?
Yes, yes. We call that komi, which is for blacks taking advantage at the beginning because it plays the first move. I guess it's the opposite to chess, right? Because chess, white will play first, but Go game, black play first. And then to compensate white, black will give komi typically about 7.5 points, which is quite significant at the beginning.
Although I think it's less in Parago because it's the Japanese rules. So all of the different organizations have slightly different rules on things like komi.
Right. Many go 6.5 and 5.5. Yeah. So yeah, good. That's a good explanation.
Yeah. And interestingly, Go was actually the first regularly televised mind sport for many years in Japan and Korea. So even though we hear a lot about StarCraft and all of the other mind games we see on Twitch, really Go paved the way for those sports to be televised or broadcast. So
awesome.
We're excited to be doing this regularly now, but we were here first, sort of.
Yes, and awesome. Yeah, moments ago we have 10,000 plus viewers, right? That's exciting. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Should we get back to the game?
Yeah, they played quite some moves. Yeah.
Let's see, where were we?
So, okay, so before White's defending itself, at this moment, it's still quite even. Although I mentioned White had a slight advantage. After the counting, I think it's closer than I thought. But White plays a very interesting move, right? See, now they're kind of showing their muscles, right? Remember at the beginning, they try to keep it simple, and this attachment, it can easily lead to a lot of variations. And especially in pair Go, it's very easy to have miscommunication. I think White is applying good strategy now. And even maybe they studied this together because there are so many variations. It could make black can make mistakes. So black chose a very simple answer like that. So here I think I think this is rather very defensive move. But you could also play here or there. Or here, but the thing is, if you play here, the corner will become weaker, and then if you play here, black try to secure all the territory here first. Now you can almost count almost 20 for sure, but the problem is this stone will become slightly weaker because we have one more help here. Let's see, white plays this, and then. Okay, blacks come from here.
So do you think then that they should have been more worried about this stone instead of coming back over here to this group?
I would say so. My first instinct will be black will come out somewhere here. We call this a jump or like two-space jump. Jumping out, and then while jumping out, it's adding pressure to both this group and this group. So this will seem apparently one stone, two birds. But interesting, black chose here. It might be a little bit of too aggressive, I would say, because this stone is relatively weak. Right? And see, when white come out like this area, not only we considered a good shape, but also it have a more I shape. So white does not have to worry about this group too much.
So you had said I shape before. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you mean by that?
Right. Absolutely. So in this game, this area, black is very hard to invade here. So you can imagine, basically at least these two territories are white, and so we call this I. And then black cannot just come in, right? And when you have an I, this group will be safer. And if you have two I's like this, right, like this, like one I here and two I here, an I is typically a surrounded area, and black cannot come inside anymore. So when you have two, this group is never going to have problem. We consider it a live shape. But if you only have one eye and you're totally surrounded by black like this, something like this, and white only has one eye, have no space to make a second one, we will call this a dead shape. So that's, I guess, a little bit of introduction about the I shape. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the goal for defending and attacking is to have the better I shape, because I guess it's similar to play basketball, right? You want your players to have certain positioning, right? Either spread out or you have your big man in the center. So that position is very critical in Go game, just similar in basketball or soccer.
And for those of you who aren't familiar with Go in general, there's a lot of really special rules associated with pair Go, because since the players can't communicate with each other, there's some confusion about exactly what you're trying to do, but also about some regular things like whose turn it is. Sometimes people play out of turn, where you see us talking and you see the boards, but you have to remember two different people are playing these moves. So if someone plays out of order, they actually get penalized 3 points for there. So basically, they get handed over 3 stones that they then later have to count against them, 3 points they lose. And the only time they're allowed to talk is to say, whose turn is it? And is it okay if we resign? So it's I've been in a pair Go game where one player had said, is it okay if we resign? And then their partner said, no.
Not yet. Yeah. I guess we've seen that in some of the other sports, right? The coach tried to take out the best player, and the players, no, keep me in the game. I'm going to win it back for us. Speaking of the 3-point, it might sound small, but in Go game, most of the strong player games are decided by only 2, 3, 4. So 3 is quite big. It can be the deciding score difference at the end, right?
And if you want to learn more about Go or any of these rules for either pair Go or regular Go, remember there are links below that will tell you more about it, and also usgo.org.
And so as Sam just mentioned, the pairs cannot talk about how to play and during the game. So it really takes a lot of the chemistry and collaboration and also understanding, because think about other sports, right? If you're point guard or if you're quarterback made a bad move, other players has to understand and not really get heated or emotional. So that's very key in this game, So it's also, I think I like this game a lot. It's also promoting the, understanding each other, forgiving, right, which is great.
Although sometimes it can be a little frustrating too.
Yeah. By the way, I want to add here, the black is because they didn't really play too much. So I want to illustrate a little more here. When black play here, it's also a very big move because it secures this territory. Without this move, white can still come in at a later time, and black cannot really capture this. If you go here, try to capture here, white can come out like this or here. Similarly, if you go from here, white can come out like that. But with this one more reinforcement move, white can. It's very hard to come in it because black can go here, and white try to come up, and black will hand here, and then white try to come out, and black can do the cut. So in this way, these two stones can hardly come out, and that's the benefit of having, this move. So it secures this territory, and then it's also attacking white. So in this local, we call this locally. In this area, it's a good move. But I think because white, with this move, white is considered stronger.
Okay.
And then black, this move will be kind of a lonely now. So I will say this exchange is maybe a little too early. I think right now it's probably still more urgent to come out here or here. Right.
Well, it looks like what they did instead was come under here.
Yeah, and then black, come up here. Yeah. And then, okay. So, and then white play here. So now you can see this group doesn't have much problem, and then this group used to be floating group. It's also coming out, and then it's harder for black to have a lot of attack. And then, so it's back to like a normal position for both. Not much fighting right now.
It seems like it's a pretty high stakes game here. So not only will the winners of this game be the North American Parago Championship winners, but they'll also represent us in Japan. So this is a really big game. And when will it? How does it end? How does this game end?
In this one?
Well, in general.
In general, right. In general, this game will, the most of the territory are taken out, and then there's only some common areas where nobody can score points anymore. It's called a dummy, and then players will just gradually fill in all the dummies left, and then they will count the territory like this, the underneath territories. Right. And then after the counting, they will also add the Comey points, which is the black, right, giving the points to white, and then they will compare the results.
And the last time they resigned in the last board that we were looking at with Julie and Maeda Sensei.
That's another way. Unlike other sports, you could have some like a so-called trash time, not really, making a difference. In this game, if players feel no hope to win, they can resign and right.
Well, how about you in 2008 in your championship win? Did you fight to the bitter end, or did you end up resigning, or rather, did your opponent end up resigning?
Yeah, I won 3 straight games in that 2008, and I remember the first game we captured the floating group of the opponent's floating group, so we won it by resignation. But the next 2 games we played till the very, very end. I think the champion game we only won by about 4 points.
Oh wow!
Right, so it's quite a close game. I think we even run to the last minute. Yeah, so in the last like 3-4 minutes, it's quite stressful with the clock, right?
Who was your partner?
Clicking. Her name is Yili Wang. Yili Wang from Indiana. Yeah.
And as you guys might have noticed by now, Pair-Go, you have to play with a male and a female partner. So there's always a girl and there's always a guy in the partnership, or at least that's the official rules, although there's plenty of just for fun games of Pair-Go that can be with anyone.
Yeah, I think here I also want to mention white play here as a very safe move, but even if white plays down here, we call this like a blocking. It's also quite doable because when you block here, this black stone has nowhere to connect with this group, so it has to come out, and there's no space to to have enough eye shape in here either, so it has to come out. Okay. And I think this will be a stronger move for white since like this, and more, I would say more active and more proactive.
Well, yeah. So let's focus on catching up to the game just a little bit. There's been a bunch of moves played, and maybe something interesting has happened.
Sure. And then, so white play a safer move here. Yeah, I guess it may also feel confident about its leading slightly. And then black plays this move. This called also called a peeping move. Peeping, and so it's
because it's kind of looking between the two.
Yeah, like looking through the door. Then you so it's also a forcing move because white has to connect like this.
Which is what they did.
Right, what they did. Otherwise black can push through and make a cut. So this is like a forcing move. And black plays this because it tried to make this group a little heavier. And then later on, it can attack from this side, right? Mm. I call this heavier is because when the stones are like crowded together like these, if you see some shape like this, and it's considered heavier because you have many stones, but you didn't add a lot of additional liberties. Mm-hmm. But while if you have other shapes like this kind of shape, it will be considered more effective with the liberties. So before black's next move is coming underneath like this. So before it go underneath, it peek it. So later on, this white group could become a target to attack. For example, attacking from like this.
Well, let's see what happened.
Right. And then so white come out here, and then black, plays right next to it, right? Because with only one space, black can connect like this, right? It can connect underneath. But without this one, black cannot connect like this. It can come down. So that's one of the very common shape. When you see, white is playing here, you will be here. And then, so black has reached its goal to connect this stone. Remember a few moves ago, it was like this. A few moves ago, it's like this, right? This stone is relatively weak. But now now you get all connected, so it's all safe, right?
So Pair-Go here is also a really fun thing to do because it is very traditionally people dress up. And in fact, the official Pair-Go rule book says that we need to conduct ourselves as ladies and gentlemen and dress really nicely and behave well. But at the U.S. Go Congress, sometimes people dress up in a more like costumes. So we've had people dress up in kind of partner costumes and as the Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I remember that one as well.
That was me, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you did.
It was me. Awesome. Stormtroopers, gender swap costumes, a lot of fun things. Well, so in Japan, I imagine though they kept it more serious and with the dressing up.
Yeah, a lot of people wear their traditional dresses representing their country, their culture. Yeah, and then white also play this knight move, trying to connect with this weaker group and this weaker group, right? So actually, just by visualization, if black plays somewhere here, you can see this group are divided and become weaker, and then so white will play here, try to connect. So this whole thing, when the group are connected, is typically safer. I guess it's similar to other teamwork. Yeah.
So it looks like they've done a lot on this side of the board too. So it seems like that fight they've left it for some other time.
Yeah, I think right now, because most of these side territories are kind of fixed, and we have the one last chance, and this area will be the deciding corner. And black. This is a common spot to invade, and then white try to enclose, try to attack from here, and black will play the peep move underneath. There's two ways to answer, and one is here or here or here. Yeah, these ways. But basically, black has one stone to help out with this one. So if you block from here, black will try to take the corner. And if you block from the corner, then it will connect later on.
So they chose to take the corner?
Yes. Yeah, because corner is usually bigger, and it's more effective to get territory in the corner, right? So play underneath, and then play here. When black pushes from here, it's basically saying I'm trying to get more territory on the side, so I can have a like a living shape, right? Or enough territory to make two eyes, make some eyes. Yeah.
And for those of us who are just joining us here on this broadcast, we're live here at the 2018 U.S. Go Congress in Williamsburg, Virginia, and we're doing commentary on the North American Pair Go Championship final, where they're competing to win a trip to Japan to represent the United States in the World Pair Go Championship. So it's really exciting. There's also a lot of other teams playing for fun and bragging rights, as well as I think a couple Go books here. So it's an exciting game, and we're getting into it here. So we're talking about this section of the board here.
Yes. Yeah, I remember earlier today in other men playing area, there's a full house of players for the
Absolutely.
Pair Go. Yeah. And then right now, see, black, with these exchanges, black is likely to be able to have a living shape and stay here. So I would say it's very ideal for black to have this result. And after these changes, I think the white is taking is not really having any lead anymore. And I think instead, black, it's easier for black to take control.
Okay.
So black play here, have a little push, and then this exchange is basically trying to, create a little cut, we call this a little weakness or cutting points for white, the whole group. Otherwise, later on, white play here, and it will be considered a very good shape. So usually, it will exchange like this first, and then go to the side again. And then here, it's a very common move. It's one of the best move in this area. And some players may think, oh, I can only go this far, right? And this is all connected. And here, white might have a chance to come down and try to capture this one. And you want to try out this this variation? Yeah. So if white play here, black will cut like this, and then white will. If white has to capture this one, right, to That's the original purpose. And then black can play here. If white either connect or capture, if we play here, it will be captured. And then black can come out here. And originally, white will have to cut, right? That's a purpose of having to inseal it underneath. But now there's an interesting move called the double attacking or.
So basically, both of these can be captured. These two stones and this stone. So they can, the people in this case who play white can only save one of the two groups.
Yeah, I'll show you real quickly. If white comes from here, and black will play here. See, these two stones have no liberties, and so they're captured like this. And then, meanwhile, if white try to save these two stones, and black will be here. This is a very typical shape to capture one stone. And then, so either way, black will be super successful in this variation. But keep in mind, the reason they can have this variation is because black plays here, right? That's the original position. And that's why white has to retreat a little bit, right? And allow black to have this. And then
Next here.
right, and then white try to connect. So now after this move, you can tell black has quite some good space here. But I'm actually a little surprised white played this right away. That's the actual move, right?
Yeah, that's the move.
Right, because this move will seem a little too slow, or sometimes we call not as effective, right? Because the reason to play here is to connect. However, there's many other ways to protect this cutting point. For example, you can do like this. This is called like a tiger mouse, and it's not the cutting point anymore, because if you try to cut and you come to the tiger's mouth, it will be
You'd be eaten
by the tiger, yeah, like this.
And if any of you are interested in some of these kind of different terminologies and rules, as well as kind of the latest in the various matches here at the U.S. Go Congress and the history of these tournaments, we have a YouTube channel as well as usgo.org, and the links below this video. You can kind of learn more about it and see some of the more complicated and fun things we can do with these games.
Yeah, I think some other strong players could play like this area, because right now you have one cutting and two cutting point, and so by protecting one of these, if you play here, this move will have more, not only protect this point, but also gives more potential in the center, so you have more influence to the center. While if you play here, it's really too defensive. Right.
It seems like they're both kind of playing defensively with the next couple of moves, though.
Yeah.
Or is this a good move now?
Yeah, this is a good move for black, because it's it already realized its plan at the beginning. Remember at the beginning, black had an invasion here, right? And then black was able to settle. So black is very, very happy right now. So it doesn't have to make more complicated variations. But I'm right now a little bit concerned about white.
Do you think they're having more trouble communicating? So remember, there are two players on each team. They're trading off moves. So the first, the female player playing black goes, and the female player playing white, and then the male player playing black, and then the male player playing white. So sometimes there's differences in strategy. Sometimes they talk about it in advance. I don't know how much these players have prepped. Maybe the black players are taking it more seriously.
Yeah. They probably have some code themselves.
Hopefully not that they're communicating during the game. That is definitely against the rules.
Right. Yeah. That's before, obviously before the tournament. They would talk about if if I'm doing more aggressive, you follow, right? If not, I'm not doing too aggressive, then you may want to wait a little bit as well in terms of timing, right? When to attack. But again, I would say this move right here, it's really, really slow, and sometimes it's almost unnecessary at this moment because it's not that big. Let me show you real quick. Even if you cut like this, it's not end of day, you know. At least the white can play here, and go here, and black has to come down to save, and meanwhile capture this one stone, and white come down again, and black capture. If they play like this, black's total gain is only about 2 points, 2-3 points, but white has gained quite a few more stones here, and plus the cente, meaning white can choose where to play next. That's the initiative, and so that's not worth one move at this moment, right? Because one move can be much bigger somewhere else, but here black is only taking 2 points if black's doing the cut at this moment.
So do you think this is probably because the players are different strengths and maybe the stronger players or the weaker player is not sure what to do or where to start, so they play a safer move?
Yeah, might be. I think at this position, before white play here, because I spent a little bit more time here because this is critical. I mentioned this is one of the last fighting spot, and after this, basically we're approaching the end game, and the chance to come back is smaller. And my guess is just a pure guess is that white is not sure how to kill this group. For example, either coming down here, or maybe can I do something like this, or do something like this. White may not be so sure at this moment, but remember the clock is clicking, right?
Yeah.
Under the time pressure, white may think, okay, I'll just play here and let my partner to figure out what's best next. And
how much time are we into the game?
Right. Yeah.
So, we're checking right now.
So I think, probably already 1 hour. So I guess each player only have 10 to 15 minutes left.
Yeah. Well, it is moving. It is moving faster now, so we can keep going with it and catch up a little bit.
Yeah. I'll show you their move. So black connect and super happy, and then so not only had a successful invasion, but also it secured about 9 points, right? Quite good result. And now white last chance is to try to get a more territory. And now you see, because of this group, it become quite stronger. And then white try to attack this corner, so it go into the corner. Again, usually when you try to attack group, you try to take out its base first and try to make it a floating group, right? We mentioned about that floating, and then it's coming to the base, and then black play here. Yeah, we see this again, right? We also saw here at the second line, and similarly second line here.
It looks like black has been using more. So we got the update on how much time left. So black has only 11 minutes left and white still has 17 minutes left. They started with 45. But since it's sudden death, there's no overtime period. So it has to, or absolute time, rather. They can't just wait until the very last minute and then play. Usually in standard games, you have about 30 seconds to play your moves. And here you have nothing, so once the time runs out, it runs out.
Right. And typically at the end of the game, you see the board is full of stones. But right now, we only have about 60 moves or so.
We're a little bit behind, so we can catch up.
Right. But just give you an idea, they have to do a lot of more moves in the last half hour together. So here, typically, I'll show real quick. If white comes down like this, and then capture, and black will, the variation usually goes like this, because this is very, very commonly used. I want to just show to some of the players, and then calm down, tarry, and then capture, and see by doing these exchanges, black was able to block and has, coming out from here, and maybe next it'll do either here or, coming further out, and that's the purpose of that, right? So
Edward's very excited about all of these sequence. We do need to keep moving we're a little further here.
Can you remind me which is a black pair?
The black pair is Sophia Wang, the 3 dan, not the 3Q, and Alan Huang, 7 dan.
Oh, so white is Jeremy and...
Yes, white is Melissa Cao and Jeremy Chiu.
Right, okay, so yeah. So basically, in my, because I'm kind of rooting the East Coast a little bit, and so black is East Coast, right?
Yeah.
Jersey, so I guess it's fine.
Okay.
And then so we're... Okay, oh, they're doing exactly that move, right?
The opposite of that, though. Yeah,
right.
so there.
And then, do the pinch move, and then come down. So it gives the similar results as I shown, but it's just a slightly different sequence, and then black goes down, and then white capture. And then with these additional 1, 2, 3 stones, black strengthens its group. And then so it doesn't have to do further defense there. So black actually come out from here. Yeah, this is obviously also a big spot. Yeah.
But then white kind of goes back to that same top group.
Yeah, white is doing this. Actually, if I'm, I think before this move, black is taking lead. So it's not a bad idea to do just like this to completely secure this area.
Yeah, play it safe.
Right, and then don't give white another chance to, to throw a dagger. But black comes here, it's also pretty big, and then now white has a chance to, now white has a chance to attack. Okay, so it has this. After this, you see black does not have eye shape here anymore. Compared to like this shape, tiger mouse. And then white goes down, taking the corner, and then also reduce the eye shape. And then white plays here. So this will be maybe a little slow, but the big problem is this one is not consistent because when the other partner play here, it try to, just take the territory, and then black has to come out, something like this. But the other partner decided, okay, so this is, not very big, and then he thinks this is bigger. So we call this not consistent. Typically this will only happen in pair go.
Right, since you don't know exactly what your partner wants you to do and so forth.
And this is where they are.
Yep. And then.
Yeah. So black will happily take this, but this is also very big. By capturing this stone, compared to white connect this stone, this is about. It's about at least 6 to 7 points, and meanwhile black has the enough eye shape, so it's not going to be under attack anymore. So now you see this group is secure, this secure, all the territory are secured, and now we don't have we're not going to see more fighting, and it's basically just try to get the rest of the territory and then start counting.
Right. So white is now going to go over here.
Yeah. Now white, you can see it has a little bit of we call this a little bit of wall or Boyoung potential here. Some people call it framework. So basically it has potential to get more territory in the middle. So white play here, try to try to secure from this side. However, this kind of moves is usually not going to be very successful because black can still come out from this area, and then also here or this area. There's so many.
But so the
windows.
sequence then,
Yeah.
if they're going, if black
they'll
goes
push.
there, and then white
jump,
there,
Right.
and then, so essentially at this point then white is trying to, is trying to build this kind of other side of the wall, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really like these moves. It's helping white to get a center, but I guess time is, running down. They just don't have much time to decide how to invade, right? Right. Before this group,
Trying to be helpful, and I'm.
Yeah, this is a typical shape. Yeah, and before this, actually, these zones are not very necessary for black because this area is already safe. It maybe can coming out from here or something like this, or a little safer in here. But by pushing here, it's helping white to secure this area. And so now, again, they're trying to play simple, but may not be the most efficient.
I think I learned about that in one of a lecture at Go Congress. One of the great things about being here at Go Congress is all of the pros who give lectures and to help learn things like that about how if you attach to your opponent's stones, it gives them strength also and helps them build a wall.
Absolutely. So black is trying to come out in the middle, and then white, do this like testing move, try to see if they got a chance to cut this group, and then black has to block from here to secure the territory, and then white, so now white has a chance to attack, so we play here, and the next move, white can push here, see, with this move, white can cut. And after this cut, this area will be really big, right? So that's the purpose of this move. And then it's also saying, right, so black play here and white come out. Because this group itself is not 100% safe, so it'll connect from here. So the uppers and this area are all connected and safe. And then black will make a decision, because right now here, this knight move shape is also not 100% secure. White can cut like this, right? So there's a little cut here. So sooner or later, black will probably come back to it there. But black will decide to take this stone first, right? Okay, so white didn't capture right away. White actually, right? Go side, and then black come down. White also connect these two, because without this move, black can, just play here, capture these two. They will be too big, and so white play here, and black cut again, right? And white parry, and then black. Okay, black is pushing. After this push, you see there it creates two cutting points, and then.
So while he goes through the next couple of moves, just let me remind you guys that we're here at Go Congress in Williamsburg, the U.S. Go Congress 2018 in Williamsburg, Virginia. We're watching the North American Parago Championship final. And just as a reminder, our players are playing to represent the United States in the World Parago Championships in Japan. But even the runner-up of this game is actually going to be the alternate for that. So they might get to go as if something happens there. So.
Right, so black coming out, it's a very strong move, and because it has to protect this group, and meanwhile, doesn't want to give up these two stones. So white coming out as well, and black use the liberty, and white cut here. It's a Atari or check. So black come out, white Atari again. So these are, now you have so many pieces, small pieces, and very complicated. White Atari here, right? But I think, I think black still should be okay.
And this shape is kind of the start of a ladder, right?
Yeah. And now, now white doesn't have many more forcing moves, and then so it has to connect these two. These two are most important. And then black play here. And with this move, the center is okay for now. And white has cutting point here, cutting point there. So I would say looks okay for black right now. So in other words, black seems successful till now with a variation, and then white. And black has cut here. Yeah. Now you can see with this cut, it creates another cut. This is a double Atari next. So white has to protect this. And then black. So it's really getting faster and complicated, right? But let's just enjoy the end game. Okay, black
Seems like you're doing a lot of fighting.
Interesting. Black keep pushing, so it basically results in, because remember here there's still a cutting point, but the black is not really concerned right now. Plays to a center first, and then white plays. Okay, white secure this one. So this is a forcing move. Is telling black, okay, if you don't do anything next, I'm certainly going to cut. Right, because after the cut, the whole group in the middle will be captured. So black will have to connect, like here. Oh, wait. Black actually come out right away. So still, black doesn't want to give up.
You missed
right away, right? And then white Atari. Right. So black is. I would say unnecessarily making it more complicated.
Okay.
But if you already read out the variation, it's okay. So black, white. Where does white play next after the capture?
So here.
Oh, so come up again. Okay, and black still play here. Yeah, and then white will try to capture. Yeah.
Okay.
And then black is going to connect. Yeah, okay, finally.
Yeah,
Right.
that was kind of scary, you're right.
Right. Okay, and then are we, how far are we behind?
About 20 moves.
Okay.
So yeah, we're
Not too
trying to
bad,
catch up just a little bit more here.
So
but
a quick summary here is that black give up a few stones, 5, 10 points, but it, secured this group, and also this group right now doesn't have much problem. Basically, it erased potential for white. So I would say black seems to be in very good shape right now, and then so.
They're starting to play really fast here. They're getting really low on time.
I know,
So
I think there's sometimes we could have a run out of time at the end.
Where are we?
Yeah.
We'll get a time up for you soon. They're both under 10 minutes
And then
now. So.
cut, and then try to attack, and then black go in, and then white has to connect. Otherwise, there will be a double Atari again, and so black jump. After this jump, there is at least one eye here, and if black got another chance to jump here, this will have 2 eyes. So white doesn't want to. So now it's really good for black because either white try to separate from this side, or try to, reduce this eye, but it can got one spot, so black can always just connect later on. So this group is still very safe. Okay, so white use the other one. Sometimes this exchange could be because the one partner is waiting for the other partner's decision.
Oh, so
Right.
sometimes in
So
pair go,
forcing,
you can play a forcing move, something that might not really accomplish anything, but the other person has to respond to if you don't know what to do and you
Right.
want your partner to make the decision instead.
Right. Because after that one move exchange, the rotation got moved a little bit. And so white come out and then black connect. So this is like Sam said, it's not really accomplishing much for white. Okay, so white plays here. Yeah, try to do the.
And at this point in the game, we're a little bit behind them, but
Right.
they have
see.
5 minutes left. Black has 5 minutes left, and white has 7 minutes left,
So
which really isn't much
black
time at
plays
all.
Atari here with the whole group. It's also forcing group, which gives the stronger opponent to think to play the next critical move. So black just think this is good enough, and then white comes out, and white coming out is basically also forcing move. And then white decides to cut from here, and black try to connect, and white will cut. And then black has to make 2 eyes in here. Yeah.
So let's just go ahead and play the rest of the moves out on the game, and we can kind of go back and talk if it slows down. But we're in a really exciting part of the game here.
Right.
So
and then black push here. Here, yeah. Basically, they will do a lot of some use apparently weird exchange because it want the stronger players to decide how to kill the group. And black play here, white play the tiger mouse, and black will just carry. So black has enough eye shape. Then here, okay. Okay, and white going a this is called a co-fight.
So co-fights are really exciting because you essentially have the same back and forth on the board, but you can't have the exact same position of the stones on the board at the same time. So they have to make one move or a co-threat first before they can take it back. So this is going to be a little complicated while we play it out.
This is called a co-thread, and then white will capture back, and black will also try to find a co-thread somewhere. So it come here, asking white to connect. Okay, that would not be a good move actually. Anyways, out, and then white will have to find another co-thread. So it goes here. And black will.
And while we're playing this out here, you can keep going. You viewers will probably see lots of hands flying on the board from the from the actual live stream of the game. It's basically blitz time now. So those blitz games you might play on the internet or in the lightning tournament here at the Go Congress just have so little time. Just have to make the moves as quickly as possible.
So where's black's next?
Anything can happen because people don't have time to think about it, and they're not thinking about counting either.
Yeah. White takes and black find a co-thread. Oh, black connects. Yeah.
Yep.
And then white and black. Okay. Finally find the and white has to connect and black goes down. So this black has the best result as I anticipated. Okay, and then white.
This is actually a really dramatic game at this point. Getting down to the wire here.
Yeah. So next, so we call this a Seki, and so basically this group, the white and black will co-live, and then next, connect, and then white.
So this is a really interesting.
Jump here, okay. And then black will, how about next black? Yeah, okay. Black push.
So after all of this work, even if they're ahead on the board, a team could lose on time at this point, which even if you're ahead, it doesn't matter if you lose on time. So that's why it's so stressful and energetic at this point.
Okay, black out. So they have to make good decisions very quickly. That's a test, another test of their manpower. Go down, black, right. But right now, obviously, black is leading. So white, hopefully, will find some other spots to fight. Otherwise, I think the East Coast will have a better chance now. Okay, and then white exchange come out. And then black push, white push again. Okay, so they are just typical end game. Not really deciding, right? Not really deciding the result, right? And then,
but it really does seem like it might come down to the wire and just be a sudden death, 45-minute absolute time type of situation. It's not as much time as you think it is, the 45 minutes.
In 2008, I have maybe 40 seconds left on the clock at the end. Right.
So it was very similar to this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only factor, uncleared. Okay, so black will try to take a push. White do the exchange again. Black will capture.
So kind of trying to play, I think, finishing moves now.
So this may seem, complicated. It's basically just, try to squeeze some of the undeciding areas.
Get the one or two extra points that might win it.
Right. So it's not really making a big difference or big deal, right? I guess it's, sometimes the analogy will be if you're in the, football, right? If you're leading big and
are they counting?
Have the ball,
right?
And then you also have the ball, and you just need to kneel down for a few times to let the, Can you show? Okay, and then connect, and then white. Okay, white will stay here, right? And then black.
Oh, we go back to the ko.
Oh, black goes to the ko. Okay. Yeah. Well, the ko is actually not that big of a deal, but but it helps. But ko will take a lot of time. At this moment, if I were them, I wouldn't really go to ko fight because neither of them have time. Because with the ko, they can play the same spots for many times without much developing in other areas. And then.
But it is a quick move to play it back.
Yeah, and then where did they? I think. They did a carrier or something. Yeah.
Hold on.
Right, so it's taking ko. I think, some of the dummy move is not really.
I think that.
The time round.
No. I think we're. I think that our board isn't updating.
Right. So.
Okay. Basically, because they're going so fast at this point, we're not getting we are up to date on the board from what we have, so we're just going to wait for the results. But this has been a really exciting game. You can see all of the excitement with the hands flying across the board and the smaller board, but.
Right. But as we mentioned, they spend about 1 hour to play only 60, 70 moves, but then the next one is like 100 some moves.
And really, this last set of moves is probably not going to be the highest quality anyway, because they're just trying to get out. And plus, we have a game recorder in the room, pressing, or, clicking for each of these moves, and they just can't keep up. Yeah, that's just like we can't even do it. But
quick.
So you're thinking that black black is ahead?
Final count, maybe?
Because they're done. So we're. What was the final result?
Yeah, we'll do a final count.
Huh? Black wins without counting, they said.
Yeah.
So.
As I mentioned, Black took a lead after this area, right? It successfully invaded, and then but White built a wall. It has to utilize this wall to have more territory. However, later on, you see Black have security here and then also security here. White didn't really score many points, so that's expected result.
So just as a reminder to everyone, we just saw the North American Pair-Go Championships, the final round, and Black ended up winning. So that is the team of Sophia Wang, 3-dan, and Alan Huang, 7-dan. So they are going to be representing the U.S. in the World Pair-Go Championship. The team who played White here are going to be our alternates. And we're going to have more game broadcasting tomorrow starting at 9 a.m. And at 12 p.m. we'll have the U.S. Masters game, the round 7, with commentary from Leo Lee 2 Pro. So we, if you have any more interest in learning about Go, you can keep coming to our video streams to watch, but we also have the links below the video here. You can also go to usgo.org, and we hope you'll keep turning in. But also stay tuned all day for tomorrow and the rest of the week. We'll have some interviews with Dingwei 9 Pro, Dave Weimer, who's going to be directing next year's U.S. Go Congress in Wisconsin, and a variety of other really great game commentaries that'll be on tomorrow. And as just as a reminder, I'm Samantha Fede, and this is Edward Zhang. Thanks so much for watching us, and this really exciting Pair-Go game here. So, absolutely.
Thank you for coming, and I will congratulate both pairs. And one last thing is, I guess Jeremy is a very, very strong player, but the other pair win, and it just also shows you how strong, how competitive this tournament becomes, and our U.S. players becoming so much better in recent years. So congratulations to them.
Absolutely, to Alan and Sophia, as well as Melissa and Jeremy. Thank you so much for watching.